So my question of the day is this. When was the best age that you ever was? Looking for hands, looking for faces that are telling me they have an answer. Well, go on. Well, I've come over now. Go. Yet to come.
Yes.
Why yet to come? No? Okay, fine, yet to come. Wonderful. Anyone else? Best age you ever was? I'm coming round. What was your best age?
5.
Why 5? Just started school, best age of your life. Reception teachers are always lovely, aren't they? Yeah, wonderful. And you actually don't have to do any work, it's just play. Wonderful, yeah, 5. Okay, any other suggestions, yeah?
24.
24, why 24? Year you got married, excellent. Something to look forward to, isn't it? Is you guys getting married, right? Yeah, that's great. You just were like, what? Why are you pointing at me? Yes, go on.
Quite like the age I am.
And dare I ask, 50, right? Yeah, 50. Why the age you are?
I'm kind of comfortable in my own skin.
Comfortable in your own skin, absolutely. And that is a great thing. And Poppy, where's Poppy? She promised me an answer. She said, no answer. Any other ideas? Best age you ever was? Go on, Dede.
50.
50. Why 50? Oh, that is the age of consent in Ghana. Excellent, yeah. Wonderful. Do you get a bus card in Ghana? Oh, nice. Yeah. We've had a bit of a story today. I want to finish off the second half of that story. After Easter, Jesus has died and then resurrected. Easter is just a very busy time. I think probably the best and worst week of Jesus' life. Obviously starts with a party, then betrayal, then arrest, then torture and death, and then resurrection. Frankly, exhausting. The disciples have been on an emotional roller coaster up and down, and we find them in this story sitting at the shore of the Sea of Galilee, staring out across the water, thinking, wow, what do we do now? And being the fishermen that they once was, they think, oh, well, we'll go off fishing, and off they go. And they catch nothing, and it's all really rather rubbish and probably very familiar for them. And then Jesus turns up on the shore and performs a miracle. Peter, on witnessing this miracle, recognizing what is going on, puts his cloak on, dives into the water, swims over, and the rest of them row, sort of heaving their boat behind them. They find Jesus on the shore cooking breakfast. Come on over, he says. They all sit around. I don't think they really talk much. It's just a moment that they enjoy. But afterwards, Jesus takes Peter to one side, and I wonder if this is sort of the moment that Peter has really been waiting for. Peter, who had been the first to say, Jesus, I will stand by your side forever. I will never leave you. Peter, who had been amongst the first to run away when things got difficult. I imagine he felt awful. Peter, says Jesus, do you love me? Yes, says Peter, I love you, Jesus. And Jesus, I am so sorry for running away. I'll never do it again. And I imagine Jesus smiles at him and says, Peter, do you love me? Yes, says Peter. Jesus, I love you so much. And look, I'm really sorry for ditching on you. It was awful. I feel so guilty. I will never do it again. And Jesus smiles and he says, Peter, do you love me? And Peter's thinking, are you deaf? I've literally just answered this question twice. Yes, Jesus, I love you. I am so sorry. And Jesus smiles. And he doesn't ask the same question again. He says, Peter, when I move on, I want you to take on a very special job. I want you to build my church. I want you to be my boss man. And of course, I imagine now that it is Peter who starts to smile. Now, I know what you're thinking, because we all have to face this question. I think part of the Christian journey is really wrestling hard with this conundrum. It's something that we all face on our journey to Christ. The question is this. It's a tricky one. Why, if Peter was going for a swim, did he put his cloak on? It is a question that has plagued me for years. What is he thinking? I don't know about how you swim, but when I swim, I take my clothes off. And then I dive in, and I don't get dragged down by the water. But Peter, absolute wombat that he is, puts his cloak on, and then dives into the water. I know you've all thought, when reading this passage before, what? Really? Why did he do that? I think I know. The last time that Peter had been in a boat with Jesus, actually they had started without Jesus. The disciples had got into a boat and they'd rowed out across the water without Jesus. They'd left him on the shore side. And then during the night, Jesus had walked on the water towards the boat. They saw him coming. They utterly freaked out. They thought it was a ghost. They were panicking, nowhere to go because they're stuck in this tiny little space. And Jesus comes up and says, you can come out with me if you like. Peter, being the rash person that he is, thinks this is great. I've never done this before. He has strong FOMO. He thinks, I'm going to step out of the boat into the water. And he does so. And for a few tentative seconds, he's there with Jesus walking on the water, and he panics. He sees the waves. He sees the wind. He thinks about ghosts again. He starts to sink down. Help me, Jesus! He calls out, and Jesus grabs his hand and pulls him back out. That was the last time that Peter had been on a boat with Jesus that we know about as recorded in the Bible. And I think they've come a long way since then. Peter has learned a lot. He's discovered the true, wonderful power of Jesus. And I think he knows that he's learned all of his lessons now. And he's thinking to himself, I won't get it wrong this time. I will fix my eyes on Jesus. I think Peter puts his cloak on because he's fully expecting to walk on the water, which makes this passage one of the absolute best comedy moments of the Bible, when a man, fully expecting to just waltz across the lake, goes splosh straight down. What an idiot. Back to the story then. I don't know if you do this, but when I feel ill, I like to lie down on the couch and I sort of snuggle myself up. I have a hot chocolate, but particularly I like to watch TV shows from when I was younger because they feel familiar. They feel sort of comforting. Does anybody here do anything like that? A few nods, a few people. The good, the best programs from when we were kids, right? Yeah. That it makes me feel better. Something familiar, something I can go back to. Sometimes when I wake up, I will open my eyes and think, nope, I don't want to do this. I want to go back to sleep. Sort of draw the covers and think, go back to sleep, go back to sleep. Does anybody do that? Oh yeah, good. I was like, nobody does that? Oh yeah, lots of people do that. Sometimes I will say something and I will immediately think, I wish I hadn't said that. I wish I could take that back. Does anybody do that? We all know that feeling of wanting to go back, don't we? Go back a few seconds, go back a few hours, go back a few years. The idea of wanting to go back, I find really, really powerful. But we can't, can we? That's not how life works. We can go forward, we can't go backwards. We can grow up, we cannot grow down. And I find it sort of sad and upsetting that the truth of life is that you can never go back. I find that quite difficult and poignant, kind of exciting, quite moving. The disciples wanted to go back. As I mentioned, they'd had the absolute worst roller coaster of a week. Up, down, up, down, up, down, total disaster, completely bamboozled and bewildered. They were sitting on a beach and they thought, let's go back. Let's go fishing, like the good old days. Something simple, something familiar. We know what we're doing. It was easy in those days. It was simple, it was straightforward. Let's go back to what we know. And Jesus turns up on the beach there and reminds them, you cannot go back. My grandpa died a year ago today. Can't go back to a world where he was alive. Can't see him again. A couple of months ago, a 23-year-old called Tom that I've known his entire life took his life. Can't go back to a time when he was around. His family will never go back to a time when they get to hang out with him again. On our honeymoon, we went to Croatia and then we went to Disney World the next year. Best holidays of our lives. We can't go back to those. I was reminded this week of when my kids were about a year old and trying to put them to sleep, and they were amongst the worst hours of my life. I never have to go back to those. You can't go back. You can only go forward. And I do think it's upsetting and it's sad and it's difficult truth to deal with. And Jesus turns up and he reminds his disciples of that same lesson, and he invites them something better. He invites them to something better than what they know, something better than who they feel they are, something better than their roots, something better than their best memories. Jesus invites them to breakfast. Not just breakfast. He invites them to a new day, a new dawn, a new start. And I think the idea of a new start, a new beginning, is one of the most powerful ideas that we have in the whole of the Bible. In the whole of how God operates, new start is the one for me. With every mistake, we can start again. With everything that's gone awry, we can start again. With everything that we really enjoyed, we can start again. It's not about what has happened. It's about what we can do with God, with our future, what we can make of our lives. And each and every one of us is invited every second, every minute, every day to begin again. In every argument, in every success, in every failure, in every hug, every good and every bad thing, we're invited to begin again. And I'd like to pray around that. I wrote a little prayer for us. God, sometimes we scream and sometimes we shout, I want to go back. It's a strong and it's a powerful feeling. Thank you, Lord, for the times and the places that we loved and for the memories that we have and carry in our hearts and in our minds. God, sometimes we cannot wait to escape, to get away. Thank you that those bad and difficult and hard moments are over. Those ones are done and gone forever. We never have to see those again. Thank you for the constant loving and welcoming invitation to start again. For new days and new dawns and new seconds where we can look forward to you in our future. Amen. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. We're going to continue with our prayers.